recipe for Peloton? What's gone so horribly wrong in terms of the way they talk to the consumer?
Yeah, I think the Peloton story can be broken up into sort of a tale of two cities, the rise and the fall. And they're both really highly interrelated. So during the rise, what they did is they empowered their audience, right? It wasn't new technology. It wasn't new communication. What they were able to do is say, let's connect these stationary bikes to streaming media and empower people. Let's give them the right content at the right place at the right time and improve their lives. With that, they were able to get sort of the low-hanging fruit. But I think the big question now is what's going on? And the issue is they're not playing offense with their brand. Think about what happened just a few weeks ago when there was the Sex and the City reboot, and all of a sudden the stock price went down 4% in one day because somebody died on this show because they were using the Peloton bike. Well, a company with a $10 billion market cap, they shouldn't have that kind of impact from a fictitious scene on a show that very few people are aware of and very few people have actually seen. So what I think they really need to get back to is playing offense with their messaging, communicating to people what makes their product different, what makes their product better. Because it's clearly a great product, but once you get past the low-hanging fruit, it gets a little bit harder.
Yeah, because I think for many, who use it avidly, they didn't care. They still knew they loved their product, but it's about the messaging to the new user. And talk to us, therefore, about, the ways in which, who would you say has had the perfect strategy over the years, as you, as CEO of Questus, has really analyzed which businesses get it so right?
Well, I think the poster child for the company that really does it right is Patagonia. And I always look at the world through the advertising lens. And what they do is they don't use traditional interruptive advertising. They create immersive content. They empower people, they educate people to let them understand how they can defend the environment better. But I think as effective as Patagonia is, a lot of people sort of misanalyze it. They think it's a green story. And brands need to realize people don't wake up in the morning expecting every brand to hug the trees and save the manatees. It's about empowering people. It's about improving people's lives one small step at a time in an authentic way.
But what was interesting about Patagonia is perhaps it got hijacked to its own degree by tech bros, by banking bros. I remember all the ones where Patagonia was sort of stopping people buying, companies ordering their clothing. Was that the right tactic to reclaim their messaging, not let it be taken away from them in some way?
It's a very bold maneuver, and I think that's why Patagonia succeeds. They're bold over and over and over again. I mean, at one point, they took over their entire website with a message that said, don't buy this jacket. And they literally talked people out of buying more products from them because they wanted to educate people about manufacturing byproducts and garbage from consumerism. So boldness is the way to go, and I think that's what's missing with Peloton, returning to that example, is they're just not bold with their external advertising. They're relying on 30-second spots, and that's just not enough.
Jeff, what about the means of communication and also the ramifications there? We're seeing at the moment, the ups and the downs of the likes of TikTok. We just think of some of the, I don't even want to pay lip service to it, but sort of how vitriolic and sort of in some ways negative TikTok can become against one particular human being, for example, as we've seen. How are you seeing companies embracing the right format for their messaging?
Yeah, that's a really fun question. And I think the automotive industry really opens our eyes to it because there's published research. The typical person spends 13 hours on their journey. Once they decide they want to buy a new car, 13 hours before they complete the purchase. So most brands are really focused in on, a few seconds in the beginning of the journey through TV, or through your example, like let's try to hit people with a bunch of TikTok messages. The real answer is how do we find what people really are looking for? And it doesn't need to be superficial messages, and we don't need to use interruptions on TV or TikTok or whatever new platform is out there. Let's understand the journey and exactly what people are looking for so we can bring meaning and value to that communication flow.